So I want us to read from Romans chapter 5. Romans chapter 5, verse 12 to 18. Romans chapter 5. The number 12 to 18. Please, can you read with me if you are there?
Romans 5, therefore just as through one man sin in the world, and death through sin, and that death spread all men because all sin. Amen. For until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law. But sin is not imputed when there is no law. Romans chapter 5, verse 17. Yet death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over those whose sins were not like the transgression of Adam, who was a type of the one who was to come. But the free trespass. For if many died through one man's trespass, much more have the grace of God and the free gift in the grace of that one man Jesus abounded for many. And the free gift is not like the effect of that one man's sin. For the judgment following one trespass brought condemnation, but the free gift following many trespasses brings justification. If because of one man's trespass, death reigned through that one man, much more will those who receive the abundance of grace and the free gift of righteousness reign in life through the one man, Jesus Christ. Then, as one man's trespass led to condemnation for all men, so one man's act of righteousness leads to the acquittal and life for all men. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Let's can pray. We thank you, our Heavenly Father, for this moment. And we thank you for your mercies and your grace. We thank you for this gathering, Father. We present ourselves into your hands. That you speak to us. May your word come and make impacts in our lives. May the purpose behind your word be accomplished in our lives. We present our spirits, our bodies, and our souls into your hands. That we continue to grow in the fullness of our Lord Jesus Christ. That as your word is coming, I present myself into your hands. Let it be less of me and more of you. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord, I pray. Amen. Amen. Yes, so you are welcome to today's service. But today you are all looking. What should I use? Yes. Someone is giving me a word. Please, I hope you all heard that word. You are all implicit. Oh, some end. Is it beautiful or beautiful? Beautiful. Yes. Amen. Yes, so back to Romans chapter 8, verse 12 to 18. I have given this short caption to the whole message. The two men. That is the title of my message. The two men. The two men. Hope it's so simple. Men, but they are two. One man plus another man, giving us two men. Amen. Yes, so this is one of the scriptures that I believe we are all familiar with the content. So I wouldn't talk much. So from Romans chapter 5, if you start from verse 1, you realize that Apostle Paul was talking about we being justified by faith in Christ. Now he comes to verse 12 through to 18 and realize that he was talking about Adam and Jesus Christ. He was considering Adam as a personality, Adam as a man, and also considering Jesus Christ as a man, and then trying to tell us the two sides of each of them. Now, from verse 12, he says that just as through one man sin entered the world, and death through sin, and thus death spread to all men because all sinned. So here we see Apostle Paul telling us that through one man, Adam, sin entered the world. And the end product of that sin was death. Amen. All men have sinned. And now the question is, how can you tell me I have sinned when it is actually my grandfather who sinned? How can you punish me for something that I have not done? Someone commits his own sin, and because of him, you call me a sinner. So here we are seeing some two things here. The first one is Apostle Paul is trying to tell us the origin of sin, and he attributes it to Adam. Here he was using Adam as an individual, but at a point in time, he was also using Adam as a representative of the entire human race. Because if Adam has sinned and sin spread to all men, it therefore means that Adam became more or less like the founder or the father of all generations. So if through Adam everyone became sinner, it therefore means that we could see sin as a virus. So once you are coming from Adam, you are already infected before coming out. So here we see that being a sinner does not necessarily mean what the person does, but it's coming from the nature, who the person is. So someone sins because that person by nature is a sinner. So now the question is, how then do you say that Adam has sinned, and for that matter, the whole world has also sinned? Now, from verse 13, I will come back to 12, and I just want us to take note of some few things from 13. He said, for until the law, sin was not. He said, for until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law. So here, we see that before the law was given to Moses, the acts that were later on termed as sin existed. From Adam to Moses, we have about 26 generations between Adam and Moses. So it means that before Moses, the laws that were given to Moses and the Israelites were not in existence. But yet there were iniquities. Cain killed Abel. There were a lot of things that happened between that generation. And yet, because the law had not been given, the term sin was not existing in the dictionary of God. So here we see that it was after the laws were given. That is where the word sin was coined from. Or that's where the word sin came into existence. But the actions and the things that define, or that the sin defined, were already in existence. So here the issue is, we see a generation where everyone coming out of Adam is behaving in a particular way. Why? Because they have contracted some kind of infection from birth. And these things begin to manifest. Verse 13, verse 12, Paul said that sin entered the world through Adam, and the sin resulted in death. So it therefore means that until one sins, that is in this context, there will not be death. So death now becomes the product of sin. Death is something that is inherent. When someone is dead, you will not see from, I'm talking about spiritual death, I'm not talking about someone in the morgue. When someone is dead, you will not see from the person's face. But the acts or the works of the person will let you know that this person is dead. So it therefore means that sin also in a way becomes a physical manifestation of death. So when someone sins somewhere, and it's the death that is manifesting itself as sin. Amen. So back to 14. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over those who had not sinned, according to the likeness of the transgression of Adam, who is a type of him who was to come. Who was a type of him who was to come. Meaning that all these things that happened in the time of old, through one man, sin entered the world. And because of that, death spread. What Apostle Paul is telling us is, if one man became the entry point of death, then another man should be the exit point of death. Amen. I just want us to go through and then we put everything together. Okay, so 15. But a free gift is not like the offense. For if by one man's offense many died, much more grace of God and the gift by the grace of the one man, Jesus Christ, abound to many. 16. And the gift is not like that which came through the man who sinned. For the judgment which came from one offense resulted in condemnation. But the free gift which came from many offenses resulted in justification. 17. For if by one man's offense death reigned through the one, much more those who receive abundance of grace and of the gift of righteousness will reign in life through one man, Jesus. Therefore, as through one man's offense judgment came to all men, resulting in condemnation, even so through one man's righteous act, the free gift came to all men, resulting in justification. So here we see that Apostle Paul is attributing death, sin, condemnation, and he's tracing all these three to Adam. Meaning that once someone sins, the person dies. So here we could see two forms of sins here. Or for someone to be a sinner, we are seeing two things here. By nature. Why? Because the person is coming from Adam. And once that person is coming from Adam, the death the person is going to die could either be as a result of the death of his father, the sins of his grandfather Adam, together with the sins that he has also committed. Because infants die, children die. Children who are sometimes innocent, they come to the world 2 days, they die. So, what sin has this baby committed that you have to die? Because Apostle Paul is saying that death came from sin. So it therefore means that if someone dies, it therefore means that the person has sinned. So the 2-day-old boy or the 3 days old boy who is dead, did he go and fornicate or? Amen. So here we see the bottom line here is I want us to establish the source of sin and who a sinner is. So a sinner is someone who is attached, who is still attached to his grandfather, Adam. And because he's still attached to his grandfather, Adam, he lives or he manifests his nature as his grandfather. Now, in verse 16, Apostle Paul now brings in the case of Christ. That just as sin brought death and condemnation, we have also received grace. We have also received justification and life. One man, Christ. So now we are going to also look at the line of Christ, and now we put the two together. So here it means that, okay, let me ask this question. Did you have the choice as to whether you being a descendant of Adam or not? Did you in any way have a choice? Maybe before your mother and your father did their own thing and you came, you decided, me, I don't want to be a descendant of Adam. And yet, God brought you from Adam. Maybe someone had that choice. So now the question is, if you didn't have the choice, you were born into a family, and because you have been born, you are a sinner. And God says that, yes, you are a sinner, so I'm going to punish you because of where you are coming from, without making any provision for you to escape. Would we say that God is fair? Something you did not have any control over. You were sitting here somewhere, and your mother and your father did their own thing, and you came. And because you have come, God says that you are a sinner because of where you are coming from. Meanwhile, He has not made any escape route for you. Would we say that He is fair? Obviously, no. So, that is how, or that is why the salvation plan now came into being. That let's make a way so that people will now decide whether they want to remain there or will also be beneficiaries of this new life. So now Jesus Christ comes in to die. And through his death, people who will now believe. So now here the issue is, it is about belief. And it's about a decision making. Jesus Christ died. Salvation has been made available to the whole world. But the reality is, it is not everyone that is going to receive it. It is only those who will accept it by faith. That one means a decision. For your birth, you didn't have any decision to make. That one, no consultation. No, God didn't have to ask you whether you want to come or not. But the issue of salvation, Jesus Christ has come to die. Salvation is now available. Justification is there. But now I want us to go back to verse 18. It said, therefore, as through one man came to all men, judgment came to all men, resulting in condemnation. Even so, through one man's righteous act, the free gift came to all men, resulting in justification of life. I'm going to explain that phrase as I proceed. So here, you realize that the issue of justification here, just as you didn't have a choice to make, you didn't have any input for coming from Adam. The issue of justification here, it needs to be received. The faith that you're going to have in Christ, God will not force you to do it. The call is open to everyone in the world. Come to God, and the provision has been made for everyone in the world. But if you respond to that call, or if you now give in into that faith, that is where now you become a beneficiary. So here the issue is the provision has been made. Jesus Christ has died. He's not coming back to the world to die again. But to be a child of God, that's why John chapter 1, he said that as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God. As many. Meaning that those who decided to believe. So here the issue about justification is you are not justified because of your work. It's a provision that has been made. Believe it, and then it is going to be imputed upon you. So it therefore means that being righteous also acts. You act right because by nature you are right. Amen. Going back to the issue, so I'm now going to talk about condemnation, righteousness, justification, and death. I want us to 3 or 4 words, and I'll be out of here. So, from 16, it says that the gift is not like that which came through one. Am I in verse 16? Yes. The gift is not like came through the one man who sinned. For the judgment which came from this. And here, looking at condemnation from the Greek background, the definition that I found to be so simple is to judge someone as definitely guilty and thus subject to punishment. So if we say someone is condemned, it means that that person has been judged and has been found guilty, and that person is now subject to what? Punishment. So it therefore means that if Apostle Paul is saying that the wages of sin is death, what he's saying is that the end product of sin is death. That between sin and death, there is condemnation. You sin, and on the basis of the law, you are judged, you are found guilty, and now the end result is you are supposed to die. So if Jesus Christ came in to die, it means that he now came in to take that aspect of our lives where we had to be condemned and be killed. He came in and then stood in for us. So instead of we being condemned and being subject to death, he came in and took our place. So that is why we are not supposed to feel condemned. Aspect of life was what Jesus took. So if you now come back to say that you are feeling guilty and you think your sins are still following you, it therefore means that you are trying to say that when Jesus was taking the sins of the world, he exempted you, and you are still bearing your own acts and your own sins. So the death now becomes, as I've already said, becomes the end product or the punishment that is associated with sin. So if God says that you are righteous, what he's saying is that I am telling you today you are right. You are in good standing with me. And because of that, you are at peace with me. You have been reconciled to me. So if that is what God has said concerning you, that you are the righteousness of Christ, then who can deny you of that access? Not even the devil can come and tell you that you are not. But if you feel that you are condemned, if you feel that you are not, then it also means that no one cannot. I hope you get the point I'm saying. For you to be justified, it means that God calls you. That is how I want you to see it. And tells you, today, I have made you right. So today, you are like me. Why? Because what you used to be, that has been given to my son. So you are the old person. And now you go back to God and tell him, I think I'm like before. It therefore means that for you to feel condemned, that is how I see that to break God's heart. If a believer feels condemned and feels guilty, it means that that person in a way does not appreciate or see himself to be a beneficiary of what Christ did. Amen. God says that you are right. That one, he himself is right. That is why he has also acted upon you. Okay. Amen. Yes, so to believe. I think last week we dealt more with believe, just believe. Just yeah. Today is we're going to dine with the Lord. Amen. Yes, I haven't diverted. I'm still talking about the true men. So, as we're going to dine with the Lord, one of the things that I want you to know is, so far as a man and a woman met, did their own thing, and you came through Adam. So your first nature was a sinful nature. Whether you were born into a mission house or the house of the archbishop, prophet, apostle, that was your initial nature. So if people who are more into, how do you call it, the moralists, the people who think that me, I don't cheat my brother, me, I don't steal, me, I don't fornicate, I don't do these things, so I'm right. Okay? What it means is, that person is standing here, okay, still attached to his nature, his old nature. He's still connected to Adam. That has not been broken. So the issue here is that person is still connected to the old self. It's for the first man. You cannot belong to these two men at the same time. That's one reality about life. It is either you are still with the first man or with the second man. There is no middle space there for a middle man. It is either you are in the nature of Adam or in the new nature of Christ. So if this person sees himself to be right, doing all the things that he will always be talking about, the issue is he's still connected. You are still attached to your old nature. And that old nature cannot belong to the new nature. So that is where the issue is. The person is still a sinner, no matter how hard the person tries to please God. So far as he is still connected and he has not accepted the work of Christ in faith, the person is still benefiting from the gift and the virus that was passed on from our first grandfather. Amen. So, the issue of justification, I'm ending it. Started receiving some signals. Yes. So the issue about justification is when we say someone is justified, okay, it means that righteousness has been pronounced, or God has conferred righteousness upon someone, imputed righteousness upon someone. So it means that God gives it to you as a gift. And if you do not accept, He will not force you. That is why people still talk against God in the world. There are people who are always giving it to Jesus Christ on the radio stations, on the internet, on television, and still they are alive. The New Testament God is still sustaining them. To the time of old. Amen. Amen. So, this is the nature that we have. The nature of Christ. He has given it to us. The Father has given it to us. Not by our works. Not the same way that you did not work to be a sinner. The same way that you are not supposed to also work to benefit from the righteousness or this nature that we have. The 3 nights. If you come back, they therefore mean that yes, indeed, you have been dead and then you resurrected with him. Kind of crucifixion or this death that Apostle Paul has always been talking about is spiritual. So, for you to have this righteousness of life, it means that the spiritual life that you have received is a life of purity. The life that has been given to you by God. And God will not give you anything that is partial or anything that is incomplete or anything that is filthy. So as we always talk about this life that we have received, we have to understand that it comes with a transformation of our minds until you accept, until you come to that point of understanding and accept who you are. No one can accept yourself for you. Until you accept who you are. If you are a Ghanaian and you don't want to be called a Ghanaian, will someone force you? But if you are not a Nigerian and you want to become a Nigerian, that one is another issue. So I'm ending, yes, understand. Amen. So the issue here is these two men are of great importance. Normally when we are talking about Adam, we talk about the disobedience aspect. But that story there was actually pointing us to a type of Adam who was to come. The man through which light will now come into the world. So in Christ we have life. In Christ we have righteousness. In Christ we have justification. But they all have the other sides in the other man. So it's just like a mirror. You stand in the mirror and there's an image. So everything that we have in Adam also reflects in Christ. Christ came in with life. Why? Because in Adam there was death. Christ came with what? Justification. Why? Because in Adam there was have fallen from that grace, it does not mean that that is your end. Why? Because the Father that we have will never disown you. You don't need to be guilty. You don't need to be condemned. Why? You have gone past that stage where you need to be condemned, because it's only in the old man that condemnation existed. Amen. So this morning, I want you to ponder over these words. These two men are still connected to the old man. Are you still connected to the first man? Do you sometimes feel you are connected to? You are still connected to him. Sometimes that is how the devil will make you feel. They tell you, have you forgotten you are coming from Adam? Have you forgotten you are human? Have you forgotten you have flesh and blood? So it's winter, so it's not good for you to sleep like that. That's how the devil will tell you. Why don't you get another 2 legs so that you can, warm yourself? Those are some of the terms that the devil will sometimes use. But if you know who you are, if you're a Ghanaian, you know. Must someone tell you you're a Ghanaian? Is there someone who does not know his or her nationality? So the same way that you don't need someone to tell you where you are coming from, in the same way that you should know at every moment that you are a child of God. Amen. So these two men, where do you belong? Where are you connected to? This is an individual issue. The fact that you are in church does not necessarily mean that you are connected to the second man. If you are connected to the second man, the higher and upgraded form of Adam, Jesus Christ, you know. So if you are asked a question like, if you die, do you think you go to heaven? And you respond like, well, let me die and see. Maybe when I'm dying, I will know where. It means that you don't know. Just like someone asks you, are you a Ghanaian? So let me go back to my passport and see. It doesn't add up. So I just want you to, please, someone should help me bring the table. I just want us to do this individually. Yes. You might always be coming to church, carrying speakers and doing a lot of things. But going for rehearsals, day in, day out, morning, evening, night, prayer, doing all manner of things. But the question I want to ask is, where are you connected? Is your connection to the old man or to the new man? Are you in this new life are you walking in this new life, or you think you have diverted? Guilt comes when there is doubt. So feel guilty. It means that you have double steps. Your steps are double. That is why guilt sets in. How is your walk with God? Are you walking in this new life that you have received? And are you manifesting in that life? We are coming to the Lord's table. Jesus Christ said, "This is my body that is broken down for you. This is my blood that is poured out for the remission of sin." The newness of life that He has given unto us. Are you treating that life? How are you walking in that life? I just want you to just ponder over these days. The life that you have received, right and righteous life. Are you bearing fruit out of that life? Or your deeds are still like the time of old? His grace is sufficient for you. The earlier you stop fighting with your own strength, the better. Please, all the Bible studies coordinators and the leaders should kindly join me. All heads of departments should kindly join me.
I needed someone to wash my sins away. Now I can sing a brand new song, Amazing Grace. Lord Jesus.